Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Inspiration from Spirit show with your host, Reverend Lea Chapin. The focus and goal for this show is to assist humanity in the awakening of a new level of consciousness that will bring peace to planet Earth.
Welcome. I'm your host, Lea Chapin. So delighted you're back with me. Thank you for all the listeners that continue to follow my show, Inspiration from Spirit, for the last 6 weeks. I've been about 6 or 7 weeks now. I've been with Goldylocks Productions. And I just want to thank all the new listeners that are joining today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're so grateful that you're here, opening your mind to a new spiritual perspective of what's happening in the world. So today we have special guest Jimmy Mack. So I'm really excited. He's one of my fellow Floridians. I'm in St. Pete part-time, and he's over in Clearwater, Tampa. So welcome to the show, Jimmy. We know that you have your own show here, but we're delighted to have you as a guest. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you've been doing this work for some time, that you had a near-death experience, and you've created your own healing modality called My Liquid Fish Change Made Simple. So that is intriguing.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You are welcome.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about how this all started.
Sure. Just really grew up Episcopal, acolyte, that sort of thing. Was really always into the pageantry and mysticism and different things. But then I went off to college. I studied astrology and numerology. I went to all the spiritualist churches and just really into all that. I love the pendulums and dowsing and standing sway testing like we've done. Some people use their fingers, just depends. So you're really picking up on that energy. I did a lot of different trainings with some pretty famous people, at least in woo-woo healing world. Did theta healing, reconnective healing, matrix energetics, UN method, access consciousness, and just to name a few. So lots of different healing modalities, and took all those. Really more into that than the messages per se, but we can also do messages from spirit if people would like to get yes or no, or they're trying to make a decision that's important about life. We can always ask spirit for that, and it comes through pretty strong. Really was at a healing seminar in South Florida is when my near-death experience occurred. Got really, really sick. They had to take my gallbladder out, but they about killed me. They gave me way too much anesthesia. And so I woke up and had full-blown clinical pneumonia. My oxygen saturation had crashed down, could hardly breathe, felt like 10 elephants on my chest. And it's never a good sign when they pile in all the heads of the departments into your little hospital room. So had a bunch of people in my hospital room, all the highest doctors there were at the hospital. And they said, well, we can keep an eye on you and you can stay here, or we can take you to ICU. And I said, well, pretend I'm your best friend. I'm your little brother. You know, what would you do? And the one surgeon said, I would take you to ICU. I said, lead the way. So I was in ICU for 3 days, but I was coding out every night in ICU, and just had very mystical, magical experiences. Didn't see white light, didn't see Jesus, didn't see my brother that went before me. But what I was going up into is portals of deep inner space. If folks look up, really it's the Hubble Space Telescope pictures. If you Google images for that, that's what I was going up into. So it's very profound. Definitely heard angelic noises and sounds and music and that sort of thing. So that's what I feel like, you know, on a number of different levels. One is I'm not coming back here. That's the funny part. And secondly, you're no longer scared of death. And finally, of course, I'm going to help people and really work with folks all the way to the door and contribute all that I can for clients. And so I've been doing that worldwide.
So how long ago was that?
It was about 10 years ago now. Hard to believe, 10, 11 years.
So did it take you quite a long time to recover? And were you fully conscious of all your memories, your experiences?
Yeah, but I would say it took me probably at least 3 or 4 months to recover from, you know, having the pneumonia and everything else. I mean, it was felt very run down, very weak. Even when they released me, it was very hard to walk, to talk. You get out of breath really easily. So it was a long time coming back from that. But I feel 1,000,000% better now, of course. And I played with the modality and the things I was shown for about a year before I tried it out on other clients and people. And so really just kind of doubting it or making sure it really worked. Looks like a Tai Chi or a yoga move. All it is a fish, like what's behind me here. So it looks like that. So infinity is an 8 laying on its side. And what Spirit said to do is take off the back left end. So when you wind up with that, you wind up with a little fish. And all we're doing is we're releasing the negative up into the heavens, and we're going to the heavens and downloading the positive. And of course, it's going to be reversed on the screen because I'm looking at it. But the face of the fish is always to the right. And over time, we even teach a course on how to do it. And so folks have taken that online from around the world. And I have about 15 or so certified practitioners that studied with me and studied with our different courses that are online in order for them to do it and work on folks as well.
So when you started this work, was this was something that was completely foreign to you? This was like totally new. You're like, what the heck am I doing?
That's exactly right. Yeah. Not only that, it's like, you want to shake your fist at God kind of stuff, because it's like, I'd have been happy the rest of my life just working on folks and doing regular everybody else's work. The last thing you want to do is take out some new method or technique out to the world. It's a daunting task. So I'm at peace with it now. We just offer it up there for everybody. And there's a lot of stuff that's even open source. We're all over YouTube. We're all over everywhere. And so there's a lot of folks around the world doing it now. And I feel like it's even gotten stronger. And it's an odd way to communicate with Spirit, but they understand it and they know exactly what I'm doing.
So when you work with people, what kind of folks come to you? What kind of questions or concerns do they have? I know you're listed as a medical intuitive. You work with a lot of people with physical healing or
a lot of that too, but it really can be anything. As you know, it's energies in everything. And so once you figure out that there's energy in everything, this is kind of like the old lava lamp. As we're moving the energy around, we're deleting out the negative, we're downloading more positive. So anywhere there's energy, it can be relationships, health issues, work, job, career. If you're trying to decide on a house between 3 or 4 different houses, we can narrow down the energy on that and figure out which one tests best for everybody, that's involved. So it's a little bit of everything. So definitely.
So this, before we started the show, you had me experience some of your work like I was the moving pendulum, and I could feel the energy shift. Then I can feel some swirling energy releasing. So is that how that's the protocol for
Correct.
people, or you work in various ways? So tell me a little
various ways. Yeah, various ways. There's a lot of folks that they've taken courses, maybe theta healing or another course. They've learned how to use their fingers. They get a yes or a no. This would be a yes. This is a no. Or they might go like this and do a little okay. And so this would be a yes. This would be a no. There's a lot of folks that'll do that. They'll use pendulums, and that's dowsing to get yes or no. And all we're doing is measuring the energy. And then there's a lot of folks that prefer standing. I like standing because it really takes the person's second guessing out of the equation. And that's very helpful to stand up, and they can also feel things coming and going. So it's an unusual feeling. It really borders around loosely under the umbrella of applied kinesiology, muscle testing, dowsing. I go and present every year the villages out of Florida to the dowsing groups, Florida Dowsing Association. And so we'll go there, and folks have all their little pendulums and bobbers and whatnot. So it's really about changing that energy. So if you have something that's negative, we want to take out the negative and download more positive. And that's as simple as it gets. So we work with folks who've never had work done before, and people who've had a lot of work done before and know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, this probably really helps those who are doubting Thomases or who are not, involved with holistic practitioner works. That
very much so. Yeah, you can't fight it, you can't deny it. So it's very interesting. I've had what I call doctor, lawyer, Indian chiefs that are definitely naysayers. And again, it can be in person, can be on phone, anywhere on phone. I do 48 states and Skype around the world too, and Zoom, of course. So we'll still drag people around the room. Doesn't matter if they're halfway around the world.
I'm going to change the course just a second, but what I'm picking up is that this is an old healing modality from Atlantis.
Wouldn't surprise me any. The theme is all about fishing. It's very nautical. It has a very nautical feel to it. It also feels and comes in waves. So there's that. And just very, very much to do with that. So yeah, I have no doubt.
Okay, that's what I'm picking up on, is that you've accessed this information from the Atlantean times when you were working in the Atlantean healing temples. So I wasn't sure if you were.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, and my near-death experience was a hospital down near there. So that's very interesting that you would pick up on that. So I love that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that or not. That's what
Oh,
I'm receiving.
no, that's news to me. I'm thrilled to be on the show today. And just for you to say that is confirmation that we're, in the nautical realm there, definitely. But I've driven past down there, of course, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and down that way, and you can actually see, it looks like roads. When you're driving down the road, you can look at the little roads going down into the water, the walkways.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can't deny that,
Yes, right.
Like,
yep, that's
somebody
right.
did that, right?
Yeah, something. And in Bimini, if you've been in Bimini.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your work with Reverend Beckworth with The Secret.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I worked on, actually, I did live stream for them. There's about 400 people in the audience at his Agape International. It's out of Los Angeles. And then we had a lot of folks on the call live stream. And so I actually worked with him live on the stage, and we changed a lot of things for other folks that were not only in the audience, but live on the call. So the magic of this, of course, is you can change whole groups and everybody that's attending, and even folks that will listen to the sound of my voice today or see the replay. It's just as magical as live. So, yeah.
For those who don't know who Reverend Beckworth is, you just want to give a shout out about his
Sure.
credentials?
Yeah, absolutely. He was in the movie The Secret. He has Agape International, doctorate in divinity. He's been in a lot of different films and things. So.
And you co-authored also with Bob Proctor, and you have a book called Take Action Now. Is that correct?
Yes, and so that was a contributing chapter in that as well. And of course, he's out of Canada area and really into profound change and making it happen. So these guys were all originally part of The Secret and in the movie as well.
And your work as a holistic practitioner, do you find that that this wave is it's becoming more, I don't want to say trendy, but more people understanding this, probably from 10 years ago,
Sure.
Or 20 years ago? I don't know what your work was before, but are you finding more and more people are using your modality as a way instead of maybe traditional medical?
Absolutely.
assistance?
And I tell folks too, I mean, I'm not nuts about it. If you break water, you break your arm, you got rebar hanging out of your shoulder, go to the hospital, but if you've been to the doctor and you've had MRIs and you're on 5 meds and they're all scratching their head and they don't know what to do, then you really got nothing to lose about trying it, and often it can be some odd energetic thing. I mean, there's times, all kinds of times when you need Western medicine for sure. And so this is just in addition to, not instead of. But there's plenty of people I've helped that, maybe needed an answer from spirit or something else had happened to them that, we kind of bottom lined it for them. And they're confused about 5, 6, 7 things they might have, and it might narrow it down to 1 or 2. And we start changing that energetically, and they actually get better.
And are you are intuitive, you're psychic? Well, how do you describe yourself in terms of when you work with people? What are you accessing? What are you, where are you getting your information?
Sure. So it's realms beyond here, obviously. I would say the loose way to tell folks is it's tapping into God and access to all that is. It's more Holy Spirit stuff than anything. That's the easiest in a wheelhouse to explain it to people. And we're moving the energy around. We're deleting the negative, downloading more positive so that things can get better for them.
And do you also work with planetary issues? Like I have a question here. Don says that he's had vertigo for about a week or so. And he was wondering if it's an emotional issue or if it's the planetary energy that's affecting him at this time on the planet. Do you work with the planetary energies?
Yeah, but I don't get that it's planetary. I'm not hitting planetary or emotional issue on that at all. Vertigo very often can be a simple thing. It just feels like his neck is out if I'm in it. just below Atlas, C1, C2. C3 is out. And so we can ask for that to change right now and release all that. A lot of times people will think things are, emotional or planetary or the riots or whatever, and it has nothing to do with that. It's just you have C3 is out. So even a really good chiropractor can put that back into place and really help with that. And oftentimes people too will have crystals and inner ear stuff. That's not him at all. He's C3. That's it.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. Yeah, because I know that a lot of people are talking about ascension symptoms and feeling the energy planetarily. So I don't know if you work with people that work well with those that way as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and there's plenty of people going through that. He's just not one of them right this instant. That is a really mechanical thing he has right now. And ideally you want to get to a chiropractor or somebody that uses a little clicker activator. They can put that right back into place.
Okay.
That's going to knock out the vertigo. But a lot of times when they get into vertigo too, just because it can be the inner ear and crystals and all that, but that's not him at all. He's strictly neck.
Okay. And then Anne, she said there's some tightness behind her left heart that travels down her back all the way down to her feet. That it's like a connective tissue tightness behind the heart, I guess, the left area.
Behind the heart. Isn't that interesting? Okay. Yeah, I don't get behind the heart either, but it's definitely down mid-back. Again, that would be a great chiropractic piece if she's not seeing somebody already. We've got a great one here in Pinellas County I love, but wherever she's located, I'd go to the nearest one. Plus, I love applied kinesiology, muscle testing, that sort of thing, so I would encourage her to find somebody that does that. A lot of the folks, the chiropractors, might be what we call pop and pray. It's like they're going to crack your back and your neck and all your stuff, but you don't know 100% through muscle testing, at least through applied kinesiology, we can figure out, did they get it all, or is there still something there? So, but she's got mid-back stuff as well. It has nothing to do with the organ, nothing to do really with ascension stuff. It's totally a crimped area. They're showing me about mid-back. And if she gets a clicker done on that little activation, she's going to feel like 1,000,000% better.
Oh, okay. So just like muscle tightness or something.
Correct. Yeah. Well, it doesn't even test as muscles. Actually, 9 out of 10 of those things that you run into, for me, doing it for decades now, bone, muscle, ligament, tendon, joint. She's not fascia or cartilage. It's all joint issues. So there's interconnective joint issues she's got going on. But if she gets with a chiropractor and they use a little clicker on her, that's going to go a long way to knock that out.
The activator.
Yes.
Yeah. Those things feel so much better.
Yeah. Well, I like that better than a drop table too. Plenty of us have been to the chiropractor and they do that table drop and it's like, it kind of slams you, So anything you can do that's more gentle, that's fine too. Both of the people you referred to just now would be great candidates for cranial sacral too. I like that modality too. That tests strong for both of them.
Okay. All right. And then Jared says that he has a left shoulder issue that's like chronic soreness. He was wondering if it's emotional or if it was from repetitive use. He plays the piano.
Repetitive use, nothing to do with emotion. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely repetitive use. He doesn't test for heat. He tests strong for ice. People usually test strong for heat or ice. He's ice. Also, he could go to any CVS or Walgreens or Walmart, and he tests good. They're saying too for Epsom salt solution, which is a form of magnesium. Some people are either the lavender or non-lavender. He's non-lavender. And then people, when you put it on, can go clockwise or counterclockwise, and he's counterclockwise. So I'd be rubbing that on there, giving that a rest.
Epsom salt lotion? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's Dr. Teal's. Yeah, Dr. Teal's Epsom salt lotion. It's at every major, it's at every major little drugstore.
Huh. Okay. So counterclockwise for him.
Correct. Counterclockwise, and tons of ice would really help. But he's another one. It's 9 times out of 10. He's not bone, muscle, ligament, tendon, joint. It's all joint pain, not fascia, cartilage, any of that's all joint pain. That's another one. A clicker could help too. So. the little activator would really help that. But I'm saying prayers right now as they go through, and we're changing things, just like I worked on you early on before we started, and I'm working on them silently as well so that things will change. I've had a lot of good luck with frozen shoulders and all that sort of thing recently too. Don't ask me why. It changes all the time. It's really weird, so I never know what we're going to get. But that's bound to help it too.
So tell me the process of how this is downloading through you, so I understand this.
Yeah. So it's hard to get into all that on one little show because I've written 9 books about it. But I would say, I get impressions, I get the whispers in my knowingness of what they're talking about. I'll tap into whoever the person is and get down to what's really going on. And oftentimes it's like 5 jumps away. So he might think it's, world events or riots or whatever's going on, but it really is just down to immediate shoulder and piano and repetitive playing. So if that gives you an idea. And so it's very helpful to be able to narrow these things down and get down to, well, what's the bottom line piece? And that's what I tune into, and that they whisper in my ear. And I was really good at, doing healing and different modalities and different things, but the intuition really took off after my near-death experience. That's when things got really, really wild. So.
And when I see you, I see a lot of energy coming into your left ear. Is that where you hear?
Yes, that's exactly right. Some people, Richard Bartlett in Matrix Energetics, he used to say, it's up a little and to the left or up a little and to the right. And so you're picking up on mine is up a little and to the left. And just for you to pick up on that or see that tells me how intuitive you are. And for you to pick up on really the Atlantean stuff is really cool too. So I always think of Nautilus and everything that has to do with the sea and water and all that. So it makes sense now that you say it. It's funny, really. It's awesome. Yeah. No, it's really great confirmation.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I was just seeing energy in the left side of your head coming in, downloading, and I just see the angels or whoever your guides are just blasting that energy into you, or not blasting it, but just transmitting that energy into the left side. So anyhow,
love it.
So I was asking how you worked, but I was also seeing.
You're seeing it, yeah. Most people don't, but you get it.
Yeah, I've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
Joanne says, and this is somewhat of a nebulous question, but she says, do you believe we are all responsible for our own happiness?
Wow. Yeah, and I would say kind of my joke about all that is happiness is very fleeting. My old example would be of Snoopy, and Peanuts, and he's happy when the dog dish is full and not so happy when it's empty or during lightning. But I like deep, abiding peace, love, and joy. So I want smooth joy, if you will, a deep, abiding peace, love, and joy. But yeah, definitely. I mean, we're very, very personally responsible for our own stuff and our own choices for the most part. I do think there's a chaotic mess going on always, but you need to choose within those different choices that you're making as far as your happiness goes. So that's a very poignant question. I saw my dear mentor and friend recently at LA Fitness, and I said to him, "How are you doing?" And he always spoke in parables anyway. And he said, "I'm doing great, and if I'm not, I run for the mirror." And so I thought that was so cute, because he's saying it's all me, right? It's up to me.
Yeah,
so
that's
there
funny.
You go.
That's cute. Thank you for sharing that, because yes. And then Karen wants to know, there's 2 questions. Karen wants to know about if you had any insight into when her book might be able to be made into a movie, if there was a blockage for her book.
Yeah, I mean,
called Descendants of Rygrod.
Yeah, I mean, it tests strong, whatever it is. Blockages, not so much. I mean, certainly doesn't test that strong for this year. Next year tests better. January, February, March, April, May tests very, very strong of next year. So doesn't mean that I wouldn't be pushing it as hard as I could with everybody and everything, and it doesn't mean it won't change after we have touched into it today or breathed some life into it today. And it doesn't mean that it won't come sooner than that, but she's got some really strong hits in May of 1.
Of 2021. Okay.
Correct. And really, who's, to release movies right now, it's really at home kind of stuff anyway. And it may be a reason why it's taken a while, because then it might be more receptive or get more coverage,
Mm-hmm. Okay. So like Netflix or something instead of a major.
Yeah. It doesn't test that strong for major stuff, but Netflix is a dream. I mean, that's a zillion movies that people download. And, they recently had one with Pete Davidson came out recently, and they had their website on there. It was like the king of StatenIsland.com. So you could go there and, of course, watch that in the home. So until we straighten out everything that's going on with COVID land and all that kind of stuff, you're better off doing that type of release anyway.
Uh-huh. Okay. And then Anne said she's wanting to move and just wondering when, move from state to state. She was wondering when would be is there any blockages for her move?
Yeah, I don't get blockages per se. Gosh, if she's looking at moving, we're in June now, July, August, September, October has a very strong hit to it, and December too. So she might find out or decide something as soon as October, and then make the move in December, that sort of thing. But October and December test the strongest for following through with that.
Okay.
And I love doing too, if people are trying to choose between 3 different houses, or they don't know if they should go to Arizona, Nevada, or California, then I ask Spirit, what's the highest and best for this person? And, I don't make a dollar either way, and I'm not trying to sell them a piece of real estate, so I can be pretty darn neutral. And they may not always like the answer, but it's what comes through from Spirit for their highest and best generally.
Uh-huh. And then one last question, then we'll see who else has questions for us.
Sure.
Susan wanted to know, she's working on a 3rd book, and she wants to know if there's a reason why that's been on hold.
Reason why that's been on hold? No, not really. I tell folks, if you write a page a day, you know what you have at the end of 365 days. So you need something that's going to need a binder, right? The only blockage, I go back to my mentor and dear friend, and he would be telling her to run for the mirror. So I don't get that there's any blocks outside of her. It's a matter of getting in there and doing it. And as a writer as well, we go through these things where we're writing, doing great, and then we lay off of it for a week or 2 or a month or whatever, and then we're frantically writing all weekend, one weekend, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I feel it's going to come back around to her. She just needs to kind of set down some time to write. If I ask if it's morning, afternoon, and evening, she tests stronger for the evenings to be writing things. I keep a little legal pad right on my nightstand and a pen there, and I'll wake up morning, noon, and night and think of things to write down and want to change or work on, or have ideas that come in, just like you would.
Okay. I'm just taking some notes so that I can get back with these folks.
Sure.
Did you have some folks that had questions there on your
No, I don't see as far as that goes. Let's see. Karen wrote, I think my gallbladder is acting up. My lipid profile, LDL, is elevated. Yeah. So for Karen, yeah, definitely is gallbladder stuff. I'm not that concerned about LDL, but gallbladder is all about frustration generally in Chinese medicine. So we're just releasing all that right now. I would highly encourage you to look up and do a gallbladder cleanse too. And you can read about those, Google that, gallbladder cleanse. And she tests is good, not for much for liquids, but for pills. So I would look into that as well. So you can Google, best natural gallbladder cleanses. That would really help her.
And when you work with people, what increments of time do people come if they make an appointment? How does that work for you?
15 minutes for established folks. Generally, new people are an hour or 30 minutes. if you have only one or two things, and you could easily do the half hour. If you come at me with everything under the sun and you got 10 different diseases, illnesses, and disorders, then you probably should get the hour just so we can talk about it, sort them out, and go from there. And then established people, like I said, are about 15 minutes, and we can go really fast because they know there's not a whole lot of explaining to do. I can get down to it really pretty quick with them.
Mm-hmm. So this is no hands-on healing work. You're just using all this energy.
Correct.
Not like Reiki or anything like that.
No, ma'am. Yeah, I did all that too. Used to do all that, but this is next level. And if I found anything any deeper, any faster than this, I'd be doing that. But this is as deep as I've ever seen, and it's fast. And so over time, in this day and age, we enjoy, speed. We want answers right now. We're kind of the immediate society, right? It's like, oh my gosh, how much longer could this drive-through take, right? It's like we just want everything right now, downloading things right now and go faster. So,
yeah, I call it the McDonald's mentality.
Yeah, there you go.
There's
that's funny.
No patience. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but it just is.
I'd work with them on downloading some more patience and having patience.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you about, did you ever study with Barbara Brennan? I remember back in the 90s when her book Hands of Light came out. Do you see inside the body? Do you have X-ray
I do,
vision?
but I know who she is, but I didn't take her work or anything like that. So didn't study with her. I did so many other things that was like, they'll whisper it to me so fast, I don't need to look in the body anymore.
Uh-huh.
So I'll have it verbally told to me or shown to me.
Just right there, just coming in through the left side there.
Yeah. See?
Yep.
And hey, the biggest takeaway for me today is you seeing that and figuring out the Atlantean connection. Isn't that cool? So see, there's reasons for everything, and I'm just thrilled to be here and have you even relate that. That's incredible. So
yeah, and you wonder where that comes from, But
right.
I work with, I'm like you. It gets downloaded. I work with the Ascended Masters and the Angelic Realm and the Galactic Beings. So I've been doing it for 27 years. So I have some level of proficiency at this. But it's always fun, when you can, have that validation or confirmation with other people of like mind.
I love it. Yeah. My joke always is the two intuitives meet in the middle of the road, and one says to the other, "You're fine. How am I?" Right? So most of us, it's hard for us to read for ourselves, but we're outstanding at other people, and figuring out what they should.
Yeah, and that's the truth.
Right?
Yeah, and why is that?
I don't know. Yeah, it's the inability to really accept responsibility for ourselves and to look in the mirror and figure it out and know deep down what we should be doing or shouldn't do. And we ultimately know, but we have choices, and I think it all turns out great in the end anyway. So my dear mentor and friend used to say, the worst that can happen is you lose everything, you roam the street at night, you die face down in the gutter, and you still get to go to heaven. So there you go. Right. No matter what happens, it all ends well. So
all ends well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it all ends well. Yeah, it's definitely. It's always interesting when somebody else can see your stuff and you're like confused about it. And
sure,
that's why we're all here helping each other, I guess. So.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a message right now. It's from Kavita. She's talking about tinnitus, and of course that's ringing in the ears. She says she's tried many alternative approaches and it hasn't reduced the symptoms. And I would jump to, and I'm just working on clearing it for you right now and asking them to clear it. There are plenty of natural things you can take. I don't get crystals either for the ear. Ears are also generally related to kidneys. So I would be doing a kidney cleanse, believe it or not. And that's the experience she's having right now, ringing in the ears. Nothing to do with the crystals. It has nothing to do with alignment or being out of alignment for neck or back or any of that. But I'd be doing a kidney cleanse. So you can Google, simple, straightforward kidney cleanses, and that'll help you too. And her kidneys even tested operating at 10, 20, 30, 40, about 50%. So she definitely wants to, and I mean it energetically, not on a chemical level, but energetically, they're about 50%. So if you can raise that, the ringing in the ears can go away. So that's kind of a round the lake way of telling you what you can do. And it has nothing to do with the ears, what we would think it would be.
And when people come to you and want to be a part of that certification program, tell us a little bit about that, how you help train them. You're training them to do what you're doing.
Sure,
Is that correct?
absolutely. Yeah, and we have a basic course. It's Mastery, and folks can take that online. It's $196. It isn't like it's $2,000 or something. It's $200. Everything is downloaded for them, and they really will. I tell folks, if you can read at the 9th grade level, listen to the radio, and watch a movie, you can pass the course. And it just shows you in different layered pieces how to do this and how to make the little move of releasing or downloading things. And so everybody goes through that first, and then they can work on themselves or their immediate family. But for practitioners that are already doing a practice, maybe they're massage healers, chiropractors. I have a bunch of MDs around the world that have even taken the Mastery course, a certified practitioner course. And that is $396, so it's $400. It's not like it's $4,000 or something. And so folks will go through all those modules and things, and then I actually work with them one-on-one at the end for 15 minutes for free. So I want to make sure that they get it and they're doing it right. And mainly it's about answering any questions they have that they experienced during the course.
And then do you do this? You're in Tampa. Do you have an office where you also do this, or is it all online?
Yeah, all the course study is online. It's all things to read, watch, and listen to. And then we would talk to them on phone or Skype worldwide, no matter where they might be. I do have offices I go to in Tampa on occasion, one of which is at Kodawara Yoga Studio. It's in South Tampa, and I'm generally there on Fridays, and folks will call them directly and, schedule with them, and then I'll see them there. And of course, we're maybe masked up, 6-foot rule, that sort of thing, but that's okay. I never lay hands on anybody anyway. It's all energy. So,
yeah. And then tell us about your radio show. How long have you had your show? And tell us about your format.
Sure. Yeah. It's been on for about, if Tiffany were here, I can't remember, 4 or 5 years now. We've been at it for a while, and that's Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're in the same channel group as you are, which is great, and that's Goldylocks Productions. And so every Tuesday at 4 p.m. we'll take callers from around the world, and we work on them, either giving them intuitive messages. I always have a co-host on. And so people I've worked with for years that will give intuitive messages, and then I'll do the healings. And oftentimes I'll have healers on there too, and we'll both work on somebody that calls in. So we take a lot of callers, and you're just really trying to help all the folks we can. It's kind of our give back, to help and contribute to people.
Well, that's your ministry, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's very much part of what we do. We do have a weekly newsletter people can go to. I see the website she's got up there now. It's jimmymackhealing.com. You can go there. If you just put in your name and email address, you'll get a whole package of different things to read, watch, and listen to. Again, all free. We do a weekly newsletter, goes out to a lot of folks. And again, that's free too. And in there, there'll be YouTube links and things on healings, affirmations, a lot of different things. And it's all free.
And so you have, you've co-authored 9 books, you have all your MP3s, you have your radio show, you do your healing. Do you ever get tired?
Lots of stuff. Yeah, no, I get that a lot. It's funny. And I tell folks, it's not roofing. I'd be tired if I was a plumber hauling toilets out all day. That would be exhausting, that's rough. But I generally am laying in my bed with my big fat black cat, and I got my eyes closed, so it's not too rough. I'm just moving the ethers around, if you will. So that's not bad at all. Yes,
that's funny.
100%. And there's a lot worse jobs out there than that. So this there's a question in here too. Yeah, looks like Roy Ann Liberty. Hi, Jimmy. Do you assist in removing blocks? It will move me into wealth and abundance. Yeah, we get that a lot. And I want to fine tune my abilities to help others. So yeah, that's a triple barrel question there. But yeah, I like good fortune. So we'll just give good fortune to everybody that hears the sound of my voice right now or sees this on the replay. That tests strong. I like that. You know, all these different word tracks too, by the way, wealth, abundance, all that, good fortune. It's as different as a convertible versus a pickup truck versus 18-wheeler. So you really want to get energetically lined up with even all those words. We've had a heavy emphasis on money and abundance and all that. A lot of the audio MP3s I've done have to do with money and abundance. So yeah. And so I'm just changing that right now for you, so you have a higher probability to, you know, experience that and of course contribute to others. So we'll see what happens now. But yeah, we could spend an incredible amount of time on that as far as money goes. That's a big one for a lot of folks. Jeremy Ryden writes, is disease have a higher purpose, or are we just out of alignment with rightful thinking? No, often disease has a higher purpose. I would say that. People will have this, that, or the other thing go wrong. Can it be out of alignment? So I'd say, yeah, out of and rightful thinking. Yeah, that's true too. But often you could also, you know, I've seen stories where, you know, a man fell, parachuting accident, barely lived, and was in rehab for forever. Met his future wife in there. It was a nurse. So if he hadn't had the fall out of the sky from the parachute not opening all the way, he would have never gone to the hospital, never met the woman who was the nurse, and never would have married her. So everything to me is just really odd, and it can be 5 jumps away. It's amazing. It isn't anything right next door. It's, you know, a bunch of jumps away. So if that makes sense. Let's see, who is this now? It's Sue M. Hi, Lee. Can I ask about my thyroid and also silent reflux symptoms? Wow, that's double barrel too. Yeah, so thyroid, I mean, I'm fine with even medication for thyroid. She tests weak for Synthroid, but strong for Armor. So I would look into Armor for thyroid. And silent reflux symptoms, generally people need to be taking more of the acid. She doesn't test for HCl, but she tests really strong for plant enzymes. So I'd probably be looking at that. And it's odd because you think you've got too much acid and you want to shut down the acid in digestion, but really you're not getting enough to break it down. And Now brand I like has plant enzymes. You can look at that. She needs as many as like 3 with every meal, and that will go a long way to knock down the reflux. And I like that product. You can get it off eBay, Amazon, whatever. I don't sell product, but I certainly encourage folks to look into things and try out different things, you know. Also, they're saying cold water, and people generally test for pink Himalayan salt or sea salt. She tests really strong for sea salt. And the other thing that would help her isn't warm. It's a colder water, a little bit colder water with some sea salt in there, maybe a teaspoon of sea salt mixed up. 2, 4, 6 ounces of cold water with sea salt. So that would help as well, knock some of that down.
Hey, Jimmy, while we're asking.
Sure. Yeah. What you got?
Oh, I've always had trouble with my digestion.
Okay. So you don't test that strong for digestive enzymes, believe it or not. You test like you need more of the probiotics at the other end. So I'd be taking probiotics like a wild person, like a part-time job. You could take as many as 1, 2, 3, 4 probiotics at least twice a day. So that would go a long way to help you. Dr. Oz did an entire program on probiotics, and they figured out one of the best times to take them is between lunch and dinner. So that would help you as well. You're more afternoon and evening kind of gal, so you could take as many as 4 in the afternoon, say about 3 o'clock, in between that, and then right before you go to bed. That's going to go a long way.
2 at 3 o'clock or 4 at 3 o'clock?
You could
sorry.
take as many as 3 or 4 at 3 o'clock. I have an acupuncturist friend, and kind of her joke always is she'll tip the bottle, and if 1 or 2 or 4 fall out, that's what she takes. So that's okay too. But they're not going to hurt you in any way, and that's going to help you go a long way. You don't test that strong for digestive enzymes. I'm surprised. You need more of the probiotics than anything else. What are you experiencing?
Oh, I didn't know if I had candida or if I have leaky gut syndrome because whatever, and maybe quality of food, just like I get bloating when I eat. It's like, I would just be better if I took a pill and not ate, really.
Yeah. You don't test candida or any of that right now. But when I ask, it can be viral bacteria, mold, fungus, mildew, yeast, candida, negative passion, parasites. I'm surprised you don't have parasites either, really. And you don't test strong for even heavy metals or allergies. So totally, I'm going probiotics with you.
And so, can you explain that to me a little bit? I'm a little ignorant on that. What is that? Just the good bacteria, right?
Correct. Yeah. So there's antibiotics. There's, antibiotics is like a nuclear bomb. It goes through and kills off the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything. And I tell folks every now and then you might need a Z-Pack if you're really sick. It goes in and kills off everything that's bacterial. And probiotics would be pro-flora in the gut. And so you don't have stomach issues per se. You're more small intestines, they're saying, and colon. You could also stand to get hydrocolon therapy too every so often. And I might do that, during the season. So winter, spring, summer, fall. You test really strong for having it done in the fall too. So
colon therapy?
Yeah.
Colonics?
Yeah. And you don't need to do, a lot of folks will have you do 3 or 5, every week, or, do one every week for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. And I don't think you need to do that. I think you at least need to get washed out every now and again. And I think that helps, but especially for you get that cleaned out and do a bunch of probiotics, you'll be a whole lot better off. And there are some there also, they're telling me right now, as a matter of fact, there are certain brands that will have digestive enzymes. You test really strong for HCl, betaine HCl, hydrochloric acid's already in our gut. But as we age, what happens is the Ninja blender slows down, it slings a blade. Back when we were kids, we were eating Oreo cookies and drinking out of the hose and playing all day, right? Didn't faze us, right? And so you had a gut that would just about process anything. But as we age, all that slows down. But, if you take the chemicals, then it's going to go a long way to help. So you test really strong for one that will give you both the digestive enzymes as well as probiotics in it. So there's plenty of those out there too.
Okay. Well, if you have a particular suggestion, maybe you can
I'll reach out to you. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you some ideas, definitely, and things you can look into.
Yeah, I thought maybe I had candida or leaky gut syndrome.
You don't test for either one. You test no. So see if we stood you up right now, it would pull you back to no on that. Okay. Or if you had a pendulum, it would test to no right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You're mainly colon and small intestines. Okay. And those are kind of weak. And I think you've had it for a very long time, by the way. So yeah.
I have. Just my area.
But we can change it. You can change it. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we'll get a hold of each other.
We'll stay in touch. Absolutely.
So do you have another comment here?
No, I think we're okay right now. Kind of clear there. Yeah. So we're doing good. And anything else pop in, here we go. Mr. Ryden again. I love it. He says, if you don't get your question answered today, call it Jimmy Mack Healing Show tomorrow at 4. Well, thank you, Jeremy Ryden. You make me laugh.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we can do that too.
That's funny.
Yeah, we definitely have shows every week, and I'm on a lot of different shows that folks have. So.
Yeah, I saw that whole list of folks that you're on. You're a guest on. I thought you're a busy guy.
Yep. Been doing it a long time, but that's okay. I love shows. I love doing this and talking to you.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is fun. So
yeah,
It's
A lot of
not
fun.
it's not
Not
bricklaying. It's fun. Yeah.
what I just want to ask you. I know we have probably about 10 minutes left or so,
Sure.
or 5 minutes for you and 5 minutes for me. What have I not asked you that you wanted to share? What did you want to tell
Oh
the listening
gosh.
audience?
Yeah. No, you've pretty much covered the gambit of everything I would ask me. So it's a good overview. I would say for folks that they need to know as fast as they got into maybe something horrible happen, whether it's relationship or physical or whatever they got going on, you can get out of it. So I'm beyond hope. I'm letting them know my experience has been I've seen a lot of things happen and people recover and get out of things faster, even to the amazement of the doctors or, their family and friends. So anything you get into doesn't matter. Bad marriage, bad business deal, you got a gut issue, whatever you got going on, just know that you can get out of it. And that's beyond hope. It's just I've seen it over and over and over again, and you can change things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everything flows like a season, and you know that. And so winter, spring, summer, fall, things happen differently all the time. So
there's always hope.
yes. And I say beyond hope. I think I always say, show me and tell me beyond all knowing it could have only come from you, meaning spirit. And so I want them to show me by demonstration and tell me by that little whisper in my ear. And when you do that, odd things start showing up and it becomes more mystical, magical, fun for sure.
Well, you give a lot of inspiration to a lot of people. I mean, just by listening to you, I can tell you've helped probably thousands and thousands of people.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do it all the way to the door.
Not quitting anytime soon, right?
Nope.
Yeah, good. And so there's a question I had that I wanted to ask earlier, was about cancer. Why is cancer so prevalent? Or your thoughts about why people get cancer?
Yeah. So, a lot of times I would think the top piece energetically, and, they didn't have all these exotic cancers, 10, 20, 50, 100 years ago. They just didn't have them. So I think over time that shows up. It also a lot of times can be about the past and guilt and anger, resentment, fear, and guilt, I would say, out of those. So you start clearing that and everything gets better. The other thing I would do is anytime anybody has that is I want to know, I would own it, whatever cancer they might have, and say that they have it. And they don't like doing that, but we do it because then we're going to fish it out and release it so they can feel it leaving. That makes a big difference, is to integrate their experience or their thinking and believing in with the actual process. And the second and third piece would be that they've learned all the lessons they needed to from it, and that having it still serves them. And you want that to be a no. You don't want them to forever having it still serves them. Some folks, they might get cancer and then they love going to the chemo place and seeing Nurse Nancy and whatever, and they end up being like family and bring them presents all the time. So when they're in remission, they miss all that and somehow create another cancer to go back. So that's the kind of thing that happens. But it's a mixed bag at all. I think it's as individual as the person. But if you had to go under categories, it's sugar and eating too much of that long term. It can be hereditary, but often it's not. And then secondly, I would clear out anger, resentment, fears, and guilts. And it can be from other lifetimes too. And you just brought them into you with this lifetime.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're probably accessing a lot of past life imprints and energies.
We're changing that. Yes, exactly right. And we're changing those all over too. There's somebody else on here. Sarah writes, my son has been having a hard time having bowel movements. Is it something he's eating? It's preventing him from being able to go. That tests no to me. Again, probiotics, they have little gummy probiotics he'd be great with. He doesn't even test for regular anything else. He doesn't need any kind of acids or digestive enzymes. He's another one, probiotics all day long. And they have those in children's and chewables. He could probably take 2 or 3 of those a day, no problem. And there you go. Thanks, Sarah.
And I guess we have about 5 minutes left, but I just wanted to, if you could give me a quick thought about the virus. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wait, we have limited time.
My father were alive. He called it a boondoggle. So you've got a 98% survival rate. I'm not saying there aren't pockets, there aren't issues with it, but only 2% are passing. And I'm sure they had maybe lung stuff, bronchial, they might have had 5 other diagnoses going on besides COVID-19. So I think it's something we're contending with. We do have, we actually did a Zoom event. It's about 30 minutes long. I think it's like $20 in the library, and that really helped people. We had people all over the world calling in, and they sent in their list of things to clear around COVID. And we also even have a My Daily Prayer group. And so I've got folks on subscription for My Daily Prayer, and knock on wood, nobody's got it yet that was on my list. So for COVID-19. But I think it's just something we're going through. I think it's the latest thing. And I'm not overly concerned about it. Certainly locally here, Pinellas County has been really blessed as far as all that goes. And the beaches are back open. Everything's kind of cranking up. Doesn't mean we won't have another wave of it. But I think it's still not the boogeyman they probably would like for it to be. So I hope that helps. But you can, listen, if you got a great immune system, I'm fearless. I'm out there, no mask, no gloves. I'm working out at LA Fitness every day. I'm just like living my life. And
gotta go about your business.
Of course, but if you had one lung and COPD and it's hard for you to breathe, you probably shouldn't go outside. You should probably have stuff brought to you until this thing blows over. So there you go.
Use your own judgment and discernment.
Absolutely.
Jimmy, thank you for being on. You've been fabulous. I want to thank you. Thank you for my personal reading.
You bet.
I want to know my probiotics so I know what to do. So we'll stay in touch.
Yes.
Again,
thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're fun. And so informative. And I know I can see thousands and thousands of people you've helped. So I'm just seeing all this energy going back behind you of all that you've done and all the good deeds. And
love that.
So thank you for that near-death experience so that you could change the world.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
For that.
Thanks for having me.
Right?
Yes. Thank you.
Give us your contact information real quick, and I want to just do a shout out here about what's happening with me. So
sure, yeah. The best way to get hold of us is jimmymackhealing.com, and you can go there and just type in your name and your email address. We'll send you a whole bunch of stuff for free. So
all right, you're a great guy. God bless you. Thank you for being with me, and we're all grateful for all you've done. So namaste to you. So
you as well.
Thank you, Jimmy. So thank you, everyone, for being with us today. I just want to remind you again, next week we'll be here. I am going to talk about forgiveness from my book, The 12 Mastery Teachings of Christ. Next week, I will also be teaching a private class that I do every month from this book, and that happens to be on the lesson of forgiveness. I think this is really pertinent now with what is happening within the world and how important it is for us to all take responsibility for our own emotions, that which we need to clear. And again, this morning, every Monday morning, I channel the Mary Magdalene and Joshua messages. And today that message was about forgiveness and helping us to move into this vibrant ray of the pink ray of love so that we can be the change we wish to see. So if you want to go to my website and see what I'm up to, it's leachapin.com. Again, I'm going to be here every Monday at 1 o'clock. Every Monday morning, I channel the mystical teachings of Mary Magdalene. I do put that in a newsletter. Goes out on my YouTube channel. Just Google Lea Chapin YouTube. You'll see those audio recordings that I have. And then if you want to join and subscribe to my newsletter, you can go to my website, leachapin.com. I do individual readings. I do those again in half an hour, in hour increments. I am a psychotherapist by training, but also a spiritual counselor. So I access the higher spiritual perspective of one's problems and help them to understand those from a higher spiritual perspective. So that is who I am, what I do. Again, if you wish to read my book, The Divine Union, The Love Story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, that is available also with my book, The 12 Master Teachings of Christ, on my website as well as Amazon. So everybody have a great week. Again, thank you, Jimmy. Bye for now.
Don't want the fun to end? Grab more refreshments, then head over to Goldylocks Productions YouTube channel. With over 950 archive shows, the fun doesn't have to end.